Alright, Dot's here. Today is a nice day, and I'm going to trim rabbit claws today. So, what you'll need is a pair of small animal trimmers, small, preferably, don't need a big one, and a towel. What I do is I usually lay out the towel, put the rabbit in it, and wrap the rabbit up. That's to keep them from struggling and injuring themselves as well as me. So I've got about close enough to 30 rabbits, but I won't be worrying about the babies. So, got a lot of rabbits to do. I won't show you them all, but I will try and show you some of them. Now, if you have rabbits that you know will struggle a lot or are really big, such as these two, my Flemish Giants, or him, he might struggle a lot because he doesn't like being petted or picked up. Then you might want to do them first because they're going to take a lot of your energy. And, fair warning, some of them might start screaming. French Fry here has actually, the very first time I trimmed her claws, she actually started screaming, and it really did shake me up. So, just fair warning. Alright, so I usually like to have something to sit down on, so this will do. So, yeah, I like to sit down on something, wrap them up in the towel, and then this is about the position I'll be in when I start trimming their claws. So let's show you some of that. Alright, so I got Hot Tot here first. Crossing my leg usually helps me get a better position to cradle them in. You have to try and make sure that you burrito them pretty tight, otherwise they'll start slipping through. Alright. So, when your towel is going to get dirty. That's just going to happen. So if you don't want to use one of your nice towels, use a raggedy one. When you're trimming their claws, you don't need to take much off. And you want to pay attention because they have this little thing called a quick. And it's living tissue underneath the nail. It's like your fingernail. If you hit that, it's going to bleed and it's going to hurt. So just take off enough that their claws aren't overgrown. Now with rabbits that are light or don't have lots of dark fur, it's a lot easier because you can see the quick. But in dark furred rabbits like my black ones, it's a lot harder to see the quick, so you have to be a little bit more careful. Now, I didn't trim my rabbit's claws last month because it was so cold. That really shouldn't be an excuse, but yeah. So they really do need to be trimmed about every month. I'm trying to do it at the beginning, the first week of a new month. It's actually the second week of this month, so I'm behind, but so you want to do this as quickly as possible with as little stress to the animal as you can. They are going to get a little stressed. They are going to get a little bit. That's just going to happen. But if the quicker you can do it, the better. Now see, she's kind of gotten out of her burrito. And I still need to do her front claws. Now, sometimes you might get a rabbit that's okay with you doing it out in the open. I don't think she will be, but see? You gotta be careful. I don't think she's gonna let me do it. I don't think she's gonna stay still enough for me to do it. So burrito her back up. And I usually put them on their back because that's just easier to reach their claws with. Now she's got super long claws because I didn't trim last week or last month. And that's not a good thing. When their claws grow, their quick will grow with their claws. So you want to be careful with that again. Especially with dark furred ones. There we go. Almost done. Now rabbits that can dig might not have nearly as long claws, but you may want to check anyways. Don't worry about splitting them so much. They'll clean themselves up. Just be careful about the quick. It will bleed a lot more than you think it will, and it will hurt. So, I'll do a dark furred rabbit here soon and try to get some close-ups for you. I don't know how well you can see this, but Pepper, one of my light colored ones, you can see how her claws are white. See that little pink section right there? That is the quick. That is what you want to make sure you don't cut. Now, I don't know how well you can see his claws because they are super dark, but they are darker. They're a little bit harder to see the quick in. Go boy, Skippy. So if you're having a hard time figuring out where the quick is and you're afraid that you're gonna hit it, then be safe and just start taking the tips off. Just a little bit of the tip. If you do that every month, you'll slowly start to train the quick back. Which is what I do with my really dark rabbits. I just take off the tip of their claws. You want just enough to make sure that your rabbit's feet don't get overgrown. Because that can be incredibly uncomfortable. Especially when it starts to grow back into their paws, which I've never had a problem with. Sometimes your rabbits may not need all that much of a trim. Like Rudy, he didn't need much of a trim at all, which I was fine with. But just make sure you check them every month. Give them a little bit of a trim. Train the quick back. Oh, it's okay, Skip-Yo. And just do it every month because you don't want them to overgrow. Because that would be bad. And that's just part of managing your rabbitry and keeping your rabbits healthy. Now, take your time, but don't take forever because remember, this does stress them out a little bit. You don't want to get them too stressed. They'll be fine afterwards, though. I've done this a couple times with my rabbits. And the reason I use this method is because it works the best for me. Most of my rabbits don't want to hold still, so I need a way to hold them still. So I wrap them up in a blanket to keep them still. And to keep them from struggling too much so they won't hurt themselves or me.